Especially when you consider, and this is a shocking video, it's about 15 minutes long, so I don't think we'll go through all of it. But DJE Media had an interview with an ex-migrant hotel manager who worked for Serco, one of the organizations that runs these migrant hotels. He used to manage a Serco migrant hotel in Manchester. I'm just going to let some of this video play, ladies and gentlemen. This is shocking. This is shocking when you hear about the reality of what goes on inside these hotels, how much you are being taken, you know, how much is being taken the piss out of you, the taxpayer, for these people, how much you're paying, and how, frankly, just ungrateful these fake asylum seekers are.
What the hell's going on?
What was your role there?
So I was services manager.
Right.
So basically looking after being told all you got to do, serve a buffet, just keep on top of paperwork, and that's great. So it's run by Serco. First day, coach comes in, plus loads of them, get 170 guys, like, where the fuck's the family, you know, the women, the children.
And I saw the cost.
Yeah.
I mean, 87 grand for the week.
Yeah, 87k a week. That doesn't matter if we've got 30 people there. If there's only 30 guys in, Serco, the government will still pay for 170. So anyway, come in.
So let us sink in a minute, ladies and gentlemen. Even if you only get less of the people that are in, they're still paying for the same number. And did you catch that, how much it was? About 87,000 a week, I believe you said it was.
After being told all you got to do, serve a buffet, just keep on top of paperwork, and that's great. So it's run by Serco. First day, coach comes in, plus loads of them, get 170 guys, like, where the fuck's the family? You know,
where's the family, yeah.
And I saw the cost.
Yeah.
I mean, 87 grand for the week.
Yeah, 87k a week. That doesn't matter if
87K a
we've
week.
got 30 people there. If there's only 30 guys in, Serco, the government will still pay for 170. So anyway, come in, first day, have the buffet. Got
Disgusting.
chicken legs, got rice, got chips, got veg, for the water station, juice station. Come over. Walk you
Do
around.
you get any of this?
What is this? Take one bite.
Do you get any of this, ladies and gentlemen? So all the stuff he just described there, before we get into this bit about their attitudes with regards to this and how disgustingly ungrateful these invaders are, before we get into that, they had all of this stuff laid out. They had a buffet laid out, water station, juice station, none of which they had to pay for, phones that somehow they suspiciously got from some globalist organization, but yet they, again, fleeing war and all of this stuff. It's nothing but military-age males coming over, a force of 170 strong. A force of 170 strong. Let me just have a look up something. 2 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Let me have a look up something. Again, how many people are in? So that is about, Jesus Christ. There's about 6 to 7 platoons. So according to Google, it's just basic Google search, a British Army platoon typically consists of about 25 to 30 soldiers. So you've got about 6 to 7 platoons coming over. This is why I often call them, ladies and gentlemen, a foreign military force, because that's exactly what they are. They're all military-age men, and that even if there's only 30 of them, even if there's only one platoon, for some reason Serco's still paying for 6? Where the heck? Why? Again, it's just another way that they can steal your money, steal your taxpayer money, because all of this is coming at taxpayer expense, steal your money to use it in ways that benefit them, to benefit the system. It's used in no way to benefit you. They're literally stealing your money and giving it to foreigners. Now let's have a listen to some of their reactions. You think they'd be grateful, right? You think they'd be grateful. You'd think... Sorry, I just saw a flash in the kitchen. That's very weird. You'd think they'd be grateful. You think these people, if they're fleeing war, they're fleeing oppression, fleeing persecution, all of these things, and they'd be grateful to people that take them in. A, we know they're not, 'cause they come over here and rape our women, they rape our children, and they conduct terror attacks on our fucking soil, steal everything, deal drugs, all of these things. We know this happens. And then we give them the food at our expense, mind you. We put them up at our expense with our money, and these people are so ungrateful. They take one bite, they throw it, they cast it on the floor, as you'll hear now.
Throw it on the floor.
Well, the people were saying that.
Yeah, the sound seekers. Oh, I know. I said, whoa. Fuck you around. What the fuck is this? Take one bite, throw it on the floor.
Well, the people were saying that.
Yeah, the sound seekers. Oh, I know. I said, whoa, what's the problem? He's like, there's food, it's shit. You expect me to eat that? He says, I have to start some, it's fine. And he goes, I won't feed this to my dog, this is disgusting.
Wow.
It's like, if you're fleeing asylum, if you're supposed to be a refugee, why are you complaining about quality of the food?
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy.
Wow.
So yeah, complaining about the quality of the food when they're supposedly, again, fleeing war, refugee status, you think they'd be grateful for anything, right? You know, you come across a person, they're genuinely starving. They're grateful for anything. They're grateful for anything. But again, these people, they're coming here, they're so ungrateful. They're so supremacist. They're so supremacist. People want to go on about white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy. There's no people more supremacist than these people. So they believe they're entitled to all of this. They believe they're entitled to all of it. And this is not me, just the evil oppressor white man you're hearing this from, Najama. This is coming from somebody who's been inside the system, that's having the courage to speak out. You speak out about this stuff nowadays, you're not only prone to character assassination, you're prone to not being able to find work. Okay, happened to me. Happened to me. I was let go from a place because of my political opinions, for example. So again, big props to this man having the courage to speak out. But these people, they're so ungrateful. It just shows these people, they're not fleeing any kind of persecution. If anything, they're coming here from a safe country, namely France. Again, I'll bang on about it again. Not so safe if you're a French person. Perfectly safe if you're these people, because France is all but an Islamic country now. So again, why are we being forced to do this? But this is the fruits of socialism, ladies and gentlemen. Because the government gets to decide where your money goes, and you have no choice in the matter. You want to decide, oh, I don't want my taxes going towards this, I'm not going to pay. All of a sudden, they're coming around stealing your stuff, all but doing the quote-unquote legal version of what the mob used to do when they used to break your kneecaps with a baseball bat, right? They're doing the quote-unquote legal and ethical, and oh, it's because it's taxes. I love the Carlo Gambino quote. Carlo Gambino quote, the government has a license to steal. We don't need one. Now, Carlo Gambino, not necessarily a guy you want to look up to. You know, head of the Gambino crime family for his time. You know, very good mobster, kept his head down. You know, one of the few that lived to an age where he died of natural causes, right? But he's right. Government just has a license to steal. But yet, for some reason, again, it's immoral no matter what way you do it. But for some reason, it's moral and good, upstanding, lawful when the government does it, but it's illegal when an organized group of Italians does it? You know? Now, granted, we have to have some kind of taxation for some things. You know, it's good for some things, in theory, what we use it for. Some of our health system stuff, maintaining our roads, you know, those kinds of things. All of this stuff, but we know that it doesn't get used. It doesn't get used on that. It doesn't get used on that. It gets used on political initiatives that are eroding democracy and the democratic rights of the British people. That's what it's being used on, and you're being forced to pay for it at threat of being sent to prison and having all of your stuff taken from you, and then obviously that transcending down to your family and all things like that. It's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting, not justifiable in any way, but who's to say that this is bad if you don't have an objective moral foundation? And where does that objective moral foundation come from? But if you don't have any kind of enforcement, namely something that could come from a Second Amendment, who's to say, who's to give you any right to object? The government says what is. The government is God. Literally, if you look at a state like North Korea, the government is God. Their calendar works off of, like, Kim Jong-un's great-grandfather's birth. You know, literally year zero. That's their creation myth. They have their own creation myths involving their first supreme leader of the Kim dynasty. Right? Go look it up. Sooner or later, we'll have our own creation myths, I don't know, potentially of the Farage dynasty. Obviously, Farage is just one of the SW1 swamp creatures as well, or the Starmer creation myth. God fucking help us. God fucking help us. Now, we know our history. We know our history. We know who we are as a people. It's being eroded. We've been declared war on for a long time. The Civil War has long time started. It's just one side hasn't fought back yet. It is coming, though. It is coming. It's hard to see how it isn't inevitable at this point. Well, let's go a little bit further, ladies and gentlemen, because there's a couple of other things I want to touch on in this video about the attitudes of some of the people that are coming here and all things like that, what goes on in these hotels, and how Serco is an enemy, and obviously the government, are enemies of the British people. Make no mistake about it.
So complaining about the food.
Yeah. What people don't realise is about 20% of them don't want their asylum accepted.
They don't?
No. So you get a few guys from rich families, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Kuwaiti guys,
Asylum seekers.
All-inclusive, all-paid holiday. So they know it takes a year, 18 months for an asylum claim to be processed. They come along, they get put up in a hotel for a year. They're not bothered at all if it gets rejected. So they have a year in Britain. They can travel Britain.
You've seen people go in there, and they've been there for a long time.
Yeah, been there for a year. I've had a couple of...
Have a little think about the state of their persecution if they're not actually that bothered about their asylum claim being accepted, and secretly, or not so secretly, they don't want it accepted. Are they really these kind of persecuted, people, families, women and children that they've been made out to be? No, of course they're not. It's a foreign invasion force. These people will be holding the whip over us physically very soon.
The guys, they're saying...
If they stay here.
Right, I'm bored now, I'm sick. I want to go. And they're like, what about your asylum claim? Don't matter, I'll just go home. And then
Right.
just go home. So
Fuck
not
'em.
only that, if
Let 'em
their
go.
asylum claim gets rejected, this is on the government website, this is on .gov.
Yeah.
If your asylum claims get rejected, they will give you £3,000 to go home. So
Lovely bit
that's
of
for asylum
taxpayer
seekers.
funds.
So you can put in a bogus claim, it's been rejected, and they're like,
They know it's going to get rejected.
yeah, they go, oh no, okay, and then yeah, well, I need money to get home, so they will give you £3,000 on a prepaid card. This is on .gov website just to go home.
Wow.
So
Fucking joke. Fucking joke. Not to mention the guy going on there where the video cut off, or where I cut the video off, is a little bit about rapes that happen and stuff like that. Again, not uncommon. There's another little bit I want to try and find, ladies and gentlemen, with this video, which, again, hearing that really put me in the frame of mind. I want to share this. Let me see if I could find it a moment. Yeah, so it was this little bit that I wanted to go over as well, ladies and gentlemen, about how, again, the kind of problems that these people are facing, and the way that we are taking care of them by force, mind you, by force. So I wanted to hear about what will we do about this. This guy raises a very, very good point. He's clearly thought about what's going on in the system a lot as well. He's not just a mindless drone that was in the system. He's thought about it a lot as well, and has noticed a lot of things. How, for example, would we, if they, a lot of Afghan migrants, for example, what do we do about them? What do we do about them? And we actually have I can't remember the term that he used. I'll play the video now. A 0% ability to return, basically, for these Afghan migrants. Because of our lack of communication with their government, because of how much we destabilized the region, because now we have the Taliban in control of Afghanistan, and we have the radical Muslims that have taken over, the ISIS sect that have taken over Syria, for example. Can't send those back. So now we're in a doubly precarious position, because not only have we let these people in that shouldn't be here, we have no way to take them back. We have no way to give them back because of how much it's broke down with their governments, because of how much we've been fucking up the Middle East. Alistair Campbell and all the rest of them that are quick enough to go on about people on Twitter, the far right and the extremists and the racists and the Islamophobes, and the going on about Trump causing all the wars, about the millions that he's responsible for killing. So yeah, here you go, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to this now. This should terrify you. This should really terrify you.
You do. What other people don't realise is, say you've got an Afghan migrant, you reject his claim. How would you send him back to Afghanistan? How would you?
Would you mean, how do you police it?
How do you physically get him to Afghanistan?
Right. So they don't come in and force them to go, take them to the airport?
Take him to the airport, and then what do you do?
I don't know.
You can put them on a plane.
Right, they could go and come, well, they could.
Yeah, you can put them on the plane, but what you got to do, you're going to ring Afghanistan, governed by the Taliban, you're going to ring the Taliban and go, oh, I say, I've got 30 days to come back. We've got no dialogue with the Taliban. So even if you've got Afghans, we're not gonna land a plane in Kabul and drop them off. So
no.
Afghan Syrians, they have a 0% enforced return rate because we've got no dialogue with the government.
0% enforced return rate.
No, not arrived. We can't land a plane in Syria. We can't land a plane in Afghanistan. So that's why when they know there, if we've got no dialogue with these governments, you can't ring up the Syrian government or the Taliban. Can we drop a plane load of your guys off? It's not going to happen. So we have a 0% enforced return rate for Afghans.
What are some of the craziest things you've seen in that hotel, just off the top of your head?
Mostly, there's been fights with knives. The thing is,
we'll get on to that in a moment now as well, gentlemen. Just think, these people that are coming here, people of very similar mind to the person I talked about at the start. People who are coming here from the most radically Islamic countries, where even in some other Islamic countries like Dubai, or the United Arab Emirates, I should say, that They have prescribed Islamic terror groups that are not even prescribed in the UK. You know? Tells you a lot when Muslims are prescribing their fellow Muslim groups as terrorists, that we won't even do that. But you have here now these people that are coming here, very likely radical on, again, this ethno-religious conquest as they see it. We have no way, or at least at the moment, we have a 0% enforced return rate. So literally, what are we supposed to do at this point? I want to echo the sentiment from Trump that he said recently. He said it extremely well recently. I believe he was in a press conference where he said, oh, believe you me, we're not, in here with all these illegal immigrants. These illegal immigrants are locked in here with us. Very, very strong rhetoric, which I really, really appreciate. Got to remember, for all the problems that we have, ladies and gentlemen, the British person is still in the vast majority of these things that are going on. So if, for example, we were to have this big, flare up of all of these foreigners and terrorists, trying to, go over and take over the country, we're still in a massive numbers majority at the moment. So make no mistake, for everything that's been allowed to happen, they are locked in here with us. They are locked in here with us in some ways. So you could sleep that little bit easier tonight knowing that they are locked in here with us. Now, granted, we have the problem of our own government, who controls, obviously, the military. But I think, again, got some reasons to be optimistic that there are people within the forces, such as the police, such as the military, that are seeing what's going on. They are not happy. And they will, like what happened in America in the Civil War, where you had these military generals that were less loyal to the federal government, more loyal to their states. They'd be more loyal to their people, to their communities. So make no mistake, we're going to come out of this okay. I do a lot of the doom speak and stuff like that. I'm guilty of that on X a lot of the time because I get emotional and stuff like that. But make no mistake, we're going to come out of this okay. We're going to come out of this okay, one way or another, whether it's in this life or the next. We're going to come out of it okay. Remember, they're locked in here with us. But one last bit from this video, ladies and gentlemen. This video is extremely important. This video is extremely important. Let's listen to some of the things that these asylum seekers fleeing war and persecution, spend their leisure time doing. Are they out contributing to their communities? Are they out doing some kind of community service, working, all of these things? Funnily enough, no.
I had 170 single guys from 18 different countries.
And they're mostly men or all men in your hotel?
All men. All men. So I think 8 out of 10 hotels will be purely for single males. So they either have ones for single male or then mixed families, children, etc.
Yeah.
I think about 80% of them are single male hotels there. But you're putting guys from 18 different countries all in one. Obviously, there's fights going on. Over blades, you've got your Christians, you've got your Muslims over there. Daily fights, obviously. I'll send you a few videos there to be.
And the NHS letter I found.
Yeah, letters.
That's true, right?
Yeah, letters. They'll get everything there. So everything from free prescriptions. And you will even get taxis to medical appointments.
Taxis to the medical. I've seen the taxis leaving, so it must be.
Yeah, so they'll have a contract with a local cab company. If they've got doctor's appointment, hospital appointments, they're like, I can't get there, even though they get a little bit of money.
Yeah.
They're like, taxes here.
Right.
Everything funded.
Over thousands a month. And because they're all, obviously Circle is also mostly run by migrants, they get friendly with them. So my hotel is South Manchester.
Foreigners acting in the interests of foreigners. Common theme you keep coming back to, whether it is the Home Office, whether it is police, whether it's anything. It's always run by foreigners for the benefit of said foreigners. So the British person gets shafted every way from Sunday, and they get their tax money stolen as well to fund their own destruction.
The closest hospital is in South Manchester, and it's about half a mile from Rusholme. I don't know if you know Rusholme.
No, I don't.
So it basically looks like Mogadishu. It's basically, it looks like Middle Eastern delight. But what they do when they wanted to go over there, go to Rusholme for an
entire communities have been lost.
They would go to Circle. They'll say, book me a taxi to the hospital. Circle would know. They're like, oh, you don't have an appointment there. Just book me a taxi to the hospital. Just getting free taxis there.
They have a night out and come home.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
Do you get free taxis home from your nights out, ladies and gentlemen? Maybe if you go over to France, come back on a small boat, maybe you will. Maybe that's your next life hack. Get a little small boat, go over to France, or book a cheap Ryanair flight over to France. Come back on a small boat, and then maybe you'll actually get a free taxi somewhere. A free taxi somewhere from a night out. You're being financially raped, ladies and gentlemen. You're being financially, ethnically, and culturally raped.